But too many people forget that. They see someone else winning and start doubting themselves. They start feeling like they're behind, like they're not doing enough, like maybe they should be doing what everybody else is doing. But success doesn't come from copying someone else's blueprint. It comes from staying true to your own. The people who succeed in life aren't the ones who follow the crowd. They're the ones who lock in, mind their own business, and focus on building something real. They don't waste time comparing themselves to others because they understand that their only competition is the person they were yesterday. They don't get distracted by what other people are doing because they're too busy working on their own goals. They know that as long as they keep moving forward, their time will come. One of the biggest mistakes people make is letting outside voices control their decisions. They let other people's opinions dictate how they live their lives. They seek validation from people who aren't even doing anything themselves. They get so caught up in what others might think that they end up playing small, holding back, and never fully stepping into their potential. But the reality is, nobody else is living your life. Nobody else is walking in your shoes. So why let them have a say in what you do? When you spend too much time worrying about other people, you lose time that could be spent improving yourself. You lose energy that could be used to build your dream. You lose focus that could be pushing you towards success. Every minute you spend looking at someone else's progress is a minute you're taking away from your own. Every time you doubt yourself because of what someone else is doing, you slow yourself down. Every time you let outside noise distract you, you fall further behind on your own journey. The most successful people understand the power of focus. They understand that growth comes from discipline, not from watching what others are doing. They understand that success is a result of consistency, not comparison. They don't waste time on jealousy, doubt, or distractions. They don't try to keep up with anyone else. They set their own pace, run their own race, and let their results speak for themselves. It's easy to get caught up in the illusion of other people's success. Social media makes it seem like everybody else is ahead, like everybody else is winning, like you're the only one struggling. But what you see online is just the highlight reel. You don't see the failures, the setbacks, the late nights, and the sacrifices. You don't see the real story behind the success. So instead of focusing on somebody else's chapter 20, when you're on chapter 2, focus on writing your own story. People who waste time in other people's business never get anywhere. They spend so much time talking about others that they forget to work on themselves. They get so consumed with keeping up that they never stop to ask where they're actually going. They let outside influences shape their decisions instead of listening to their own intuition. But at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is what you do with your own life. If you want to go far, you have to cut out the noise. You have to stop checking on what everybody else is doing. You have to stop seeking approval from people who don't matter. You have to stop worrying about where you are compared to someone else. The only thing that should concern you is whether you're better today than you were yesterday. Whether you're putting in the work, whether you're moving forward, because when you focus on your own path, everything else falls into place. People waste so much time waiting for the perfect moment to start. They tell themselves they need to be more prepared. They need more resources. They need to feel more confident. They convince themselves that someday everything will line up just right, and that's when they'll finally take action. But the truth is, there is no perfect time. There will always be a reason to wait, always an excuse to delay, always something that makes you feel like you're not ready. But while you're waiting, opportunities are passing you by. Success doesn't come to the person who hesitates. it comes to the person who moves. The person who takes action even when they don't feel 100% ready. The people who achieve their goals aren't the ones who sit around planning forever. They're the ones who start, adjust, and learn along the way. They don't wait for everything to be perfect because they know perfection is an illusion. They understand that movement creates momentum, and once you get moving, things start to fall into place. The biggest killer of dreams is hesitation. It's the voice in your head that tells you to wait just a little longer. It's the fear that makes you second guess yourself. It's the doubt that makes you question whether you're good enough, smart enough, or capable enough. But the only way to know if you're ready is to start. You don't gain confidence by sitting on the sidelines. You gain confidence by stepping into the game, taking risks, and proving to yourself that you can handle whatever comes your way. A lot of people don't even realize how much time they've wasted waiting for the right time. They keep putting things off, thinking they'll get around to it eventually. But eventually never comes. One day turns into 1 year, and before they know it, they're looking back wondering why they never made a move. Regret doesn't come from trying and failing. It comes from never trying at all. It comes from knowing you had a chance but let it slip away because you were too afraid to take action. People get stuck because they think they need to have all the answers before they begin. But the truth is, nobody ever has all the answers in the beginning. The most successful people in the world didn't start with everything figured out. They started with what they had and figured out the rest along the way. They weren't afraid to make mistakes because they knew mistakes were part of the process. They weren't afraid to start small because they knew starting small was better than not starting at all. Every day you spend waiting is a day you could have spent learning. Every moment you hesitate is a moment you could have used to build, grow, and improve. Success isn't about being the smartest, the most talented, or the most experienced. It's about being the person who takes action. It's about being the person who sees an opportunity and grabs it instead of waiting for another one to come along. It's about being willing to take the first step, even when you don't know exactly where the path will lead. The truth is, you will never feel completely ready. There will always be uncertainty, always be challenges, always be things you don't know. But if you keep waiting for the perfect conditions, you'll never do anything. If you keep waiting to feel fearless, you'll never take risks. The people who achieve great things in life aren't the ones who never feel fear. They're the ones who act despite it. They understand that fear doesn't mean stop, it means go. It means you're stepping outside your comfort zone, and that's exactly where growth happens. Time moves whether you take action or not. The weeks, months, and years will pass no matter what you do. The question is, will you look back and see progress, or will you look back and see wasted time? Will you be further along, or will you still be standing in the same place telling yourself that someday you'll start? The only way to change your life is to take action now. Not tomorrow, not next week, not next year, right now. Now, because the sooner you start, the sooner you'll see results. One of the biggest mistakes people make is seeking approval from others. They want validation before they take action. They want permission before they go after what they want. They care too much about what people think, and that fear of judgment holds them back. But the truth is, no matter what you do, people will always have opinions. Some will support you, some will doubt you, and some will criticize you no matter what. If you spend your life trying to please everybody, you'll never get anywhere. You can't let other people's opinions dictate your future. Too many people hold themselves back because they're worried about what their friends, family, or even strangers might say. They don't chase their dreams because they're afraid of being judged. They don't step out of their comfort zone because they don't want to be laughed at. But the reality is, most people aren't thinking about you as much as you think they are. Everyone is too busy dealing with their own lives to sit around analyzing yours. The people who judge you aren't doing more than you. The people who criticize you aren't the ones out there taking risks and building something. The loudest opinions usually come from the people who are standing still while you're trying to move forward. If you let their words get to you, you're giving them power over your life. You're letting people who don't even have their own lives figured out tell you how to live yours. I think that doesn't make sense. If you want to succeed, you have to get comfortable with people not understanding you. You have to be okay with people doubting you. You have to learn to move in silence and let your results do the talking. People might not believe in you at first, but that's not your problem. Your job is to believe in yourself, to stay focused on your vision, and to prove them wrong through your actions. The moment you stop looking for approval, you free yourself to go after what you truly want. The most successful people in the world didn't get there by asking for permission. They didn't wait for everyone to agree with their decisions. They made bold moves, took risks, and trusted themselves even when nobody else did. They understood that not everyone would understand their journey, and they were okay with that. They didn't let the fear of judgment stop them from becoming who they were meant to be. People will talk whether you succeed or fail. If you do nothing with your life, they'll have something to say about it. If you go after success, they'll still have something to say. Either way, opinions are unavoidable, so you might as well do what makes you happy. You might as well chase your goals, live on your own terms, and let people say whatever they want. At the end of the day, their opinions don't pay your bills, don't create your success, and don't determine your future. Only you can do that. Too many people are living for others instead of living for themselves. They make choices based on what will make them look good rather than what will make them fulfilled. They follow paths that don't excite them just because it's what's expected of them. They hold themselves back because they don't want to disappoint anyone. But in trying to please everyone else, they end up disappointing themselves. They wake up one day realizing they built a life that doesn't even feel like their own. You have to ask yourself, whose approval are you really seeking, and why does it matter? If you make every decision based on what others think, you'll never be free. You'll always be chasing validation instead of chasing purpose. You'll always be looking for external confirmation instead of trusting your own instincts. The moment you stop worrying about what people think, you take back control of your life. People will always have something to say, but that doesn't mean you have to listen. The only voice that truly matters is your own. The only approval you need is yours. The only opinion that should shape your decisions is the one that comes from within. Because at the end of the day, you're the one who has to live with the choices you make. You're the one who has to wake up every day and face the life you've built. So make sure it's a life that makes you proud, not one that was built to impress others.